And welcome back to our second episode of Air Radio News. Today, as usual, brought to you by our good friends here at the worldwide, famous, I guess, as we're making it, the Appalachian Public Drink House here in Georgetown, Ontario, Halton Hills, Ontario, Canada. You can give them a call if you're local and you want to get some great takeout food. Give them a shout at 905-877-9888. Big Daddy Russ Horton, myself, Leah Lake, and Leah Lylewood also on the set with us as well today. Today, bringing you all your Canadian national news, I guess.
And the world news and the stuff we talk about on the Air Radio Network, which of course is FM108.ca, 50s, 60s, 70s, Radio GTA, which is freeform.
Actually got that shirt on.
That's right. And they're both national radio stations across Canada. And of course, we own a community station, Halton Hills Online as well.
And
of course, we're on Facebook.
All over Facebook.
And on video. We're the new media. We're not a corporation. We're a couple of guys and a gal here who just want to
with a camera and a microphone.
Fun. That look at the world differently probably than the rest of you. But and we're brought to you by, of course, as you mentioned, the Appalachian and Mother Owl's Renaissance, which is Renaissance. Well, it can be Renaissance too, can it?
If your name's Renee.
Almost sounds like something you eat, though.
But Mother Owl's is, of course, remote healing, guided meditation. This is Leah. This is our own Leah.
Yeah.
She does classes, energy healing, hypnotherapy.
Yeah. Some of this stuff can all be done remotely too, like you said. So
if give her a phone call, 905-867-5377, or you'll find all of this information at sistersoflight.ca.
Yeah.
And we're very proud of Leah and all the wonderful things she does.
Yeah, she works very hard for us.
She's going to be.
She makes us look good.
That's right. And
well,
that's hard.
Makes us look okay, at least.
It's hard.
You can only work with so much on a palette.
A little bit of mama spit.
Yeah, mama's spit.
Yes.
So we're basically a radio, media, video, social media platform that you guys can come to, and we are available on Halton Hills Online on YouTube. We have our own category for Air Radio, where you can see these videos. Okay, so the big story, I guess, is that Dr. Theresa Tam says that the Omicron will peak in February. Let's bake a cake for that.
Let's bake a cake.
Department of National Defense, they're starting proceedings against 900 members of the armed forces in Canada who are not yet vaccinated.
Yes, there's a lot, actually. I was quite surprised at that.
And there was also a giant explosion at the Eastway Tank Center in Ottawa, killed 3 people.
I heard
Friday.
a little bit about that. Yeah, that sounded really nasty.
Imagine being in a building and it goes up like that.
Man.
Those are the 3 big stories from Friday as we record this across the country.
Yeah.
What's going on with Justin?
Yeah, I'd have to say this is our top story right now. It's pretty much everywhere in the news that Prime Minister Trudeau is going ahead with a vaccine mandate for international truckers in spite of increasing pressure from critics who mention it will exacerbate the driver shortages and drive up the price of goods imported from the U.S., which is a lot of goods imported from the U.S. Yeah. Canada will ask all truckers coming from the United States to show proof of vaccination beginning Saturday, so tomorrow for us here as we're filming, in its fight against COVID-19. This could force somewhere upwards of 16,000 or 10% of cross-border drivers off the roads. The Canadian Trucking Alliance states the government estimates 5% of the drivers will be impacting, according to the source. I heard other sources going as high as 20%.
It's hard on the truckers already.
Yeah.
And the thing about the truckers is the poor buggers, back a few weeks ago when everything was shut down completely, they had nowhere to get a coffee, nowhere to get something to eat when they're waiting.
When it first,
the bathroom.
Well, the
bathroom.
well, that was it. When it first came out and the lockdowns came in, I remember they weren't allowed to use the public washrooms. They couldn't even go get a coffee, and then so you started seeing restaurants that were going, "Hey, stop here and we'll bring it out to you."
They did that in Newfoundland, Platentia. The whole town came out and brought them something to eat, coffee, porta potties.
Yeah.
But
hey, you got to do what you got to do, man.
Do what you got to do.
These guys are as big a heroes as anybody as well.
Of course they are.
But
Because
that
without the
doesn't mean
truckers,
we have the food and know, the things we order online.
And that's where it comes down to, you know, where we're going to run into a situation that your food is now going to double in price.
Of course it is.
All your goods are going to double in price. All your Amazon stuff is going to double in price, and this is going to slow down.
You mean
things
that guy's going to make even more money?
Yeah,
God, I wish I was related to him.
I know.
It's
man.
coming. With this going on with the truckers, I've seen many a video where they're explaining, please don't be upset with us truckers. You know what?
Nobody's
There's a lot
upset
that
with
don't
you
want to
guys.
get vaccinated or whatever their reasons are. And if they said plain and simple, don't blame us, blame the government. We're willing to do our job.
Yeah.
Canada flagged more cases of COVID-19 in the first 40 days of Omicron than it did the entire year of the pandemic. As a matter of fact, according to data from the case tracker, 777,000 confirmed new infections since the first case of Omicron. This story actually is a couple of days old too.
Right.
But before I was hearing all the information and going through the steps of reading the news, and I didn't really get to know anyone that had COVID. Now, in the last couple of weeks, there's 3 or 4 people that I know close, personal friends, and you too, who have, all of us.
I don't have COVID. I just have friends.
No, but
that
I'm
do.
saying,
Yeah, me too.
I'm just clarifying.
he doesn't have COVID. He doesn't even really have friends. But
Well, that's true too.
But yeah, so I've noticed that it hits home when somebody you know has
Yeah.
it. And that's what I've noticed.
It's affecting a
over the
lot of
last little while.
people, and it's affecting everybody. It's a worldwide pandemic, and this is the thing I think some people forget is that, you know, they think when they're getting mad at the government and stuff like that, you think we're the only ones in this situation. Could you imagine being in Russia or India right now where the numbers are just absolutely skyrocketing?
Ridiculous.
You know, we're doing pretty darn good. Unfortunately, you know, our hospitals are understaffed right at the moment, and that's always been a problem here in Canada. Even before the pandemic, we had staffing issues. So this one here, I tend to agree with some of these. The discovery of a potential new COVID-19 variant dubbed Deltacron. Deltacron. Dum, bum, boom.
Sounds like a
Marvel
Marvel
movie or something.
I wish we had, you know, an instrument here where we could do the dun dun dun.
We will later.
No, we'll get there. Over the weekend has separated many health experts with saying that the findings are more likely due to a lab processing error or a sample contamination.
But
Delta-
don't worry, guys,
Yeah.
because the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is coming.
He's come, that's right.
He's the next.
You know.
Just ask Fred Water.
Who
Let's
you
say
gonna
hi to a
call?
few people too.
Ghostbusters.
Fred Water in St. Catharines,
COVID
Ontario.
busters.
Hello to you, and Steve Sanderson, who writes all my jokes from our Top 40 Timeline radio show. He's got millions of jokes that are clean. They can actually use.
You
on
can
the
use,
radio.
yeah, you could actually
so
get
hello
away
to
with
Steve
using.
Sanderson in Kelowna, BC. God bless you.
Watch out for those cougars, and if you see one, just play some Metallica, and you'll get away with it.
That's right, Steve. There
great,
you go.
great story.
Take a Metallica CD.
Who does
I'm showing
that?
my age, aren't
Jeez.
I? Take
Put
your
phone.
phone and play Metallica. And the Cougars will run away, Steve. I promise. They won't come anywhere near you.
Oh, that was brutal.
Oh, you have to stretch for that one, Lakin.
Yeah, Deltacron was first reported by Dr. Lendios Kastrikis, I think, a professor.
That's why I gave him that story.
A professor of biology sciences and head of the Laboratory of Biotechnology and Molecular Virology at the University of Cyprus, who named the strain because of its genetic signature resembling the Omicron and the Delta.
Yeah,
well, I
see
think
you
we,
later.
I think we kind of got that. You know, oh, where did he come up with that name? That's genius. You know?
As we were talking about the food chain and stuff, that people don't see this coming, but it's coming. From cities struggling to keep enough emergency responders on duty to staffing shortages, slowing the Canadian food supply chain, the rapid spread of the Omicron variant is hampering the ability of public services to operate at full capacity. Sudden surge of infections has spurred some government officials to begin developing contingency plans. It says here, we are planning for worst case scenarios up to and including illness rates of 50 to 60%. And that is according to John Tory. And as the news keeps seeping through about this COVID garbage, and we said we weren't going to talk about COVID
If it's
on
not
this show, but
COVID, it's crap.
it's not.
If it's not COVID, it's crap.
COVID 6 is on the horizon.
Yeah,
The new movie.
The new movie coming out.
Yeah, God. The movie that never ends. The bad movie that never ends.
The Deltacron.
Deltacron. And see if you and I can get some voice work on that movie. You know?
Yeah,
It'd be
we,
nice.
you know,
Can I be the voice of Deltacron?
I'll be the voice of his nemesis, whatever it is.
Yeah, we'll figure that who that is.
Needle Man. I'll be Needle Man.
Needle Man.
Needle Man.
Quebec Premier Francois Legault stated the province will apply a significant financial penalty for those who refuse to get vaccinated against COVID-19 for
Slap on the
non-medical.
wrist. Bad boy.
Yeah. The Premier made the announcement at a news conference last Tuesday of this week, describing the measure as a health care contribution. Though the exact amount has not yet been decided upon, Quebec is consulting with the finance minister and its legal advisors about implementing the measure, but Legault already mentioned $50 to $100 is not significant enough for him.
We need more than
And
that.
he's going to run into some legal problems with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy on that one, and from what I've heard in areas of Quebec, they've also banned you buying liquor because
That's
you're
really
not,
going to help
because
the
you're not
alcoholics,
vaccinated.
isn't it, when they go into seizure because they're...
They thought they had an issue with
You know.
healthcare emergency rooms before.
Yeah,
You have to remember people that drink, they need to...
it's a disease.
You just can't take them away from that.
No,
And it's like taking somebody's medication away, like anxiety pills or
Yeah.
something. You know
Well,
what I mean?
they
Same
wean,
thing.
they wean you on them
Because
and they
really,
wean you off them.
Booze is an anxiety pill in its
Really.
own little world.
Yeah.
And that's what people drink for, is to get away from their problems. And if they can't get away from their problems and they have a serious problem, think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Seizures, heart
Yeah,
failure. There's
exactly.
all kinds of things when they can't get a drink.
Just detoxing alone can be
I mean,
so
it's
hard
a
on the
terrible
body.
disease to fight in the beginning,
Yeah.
in the first place, but without having all this garbage thrown your way.
So, as we know, kids going back to school on Monday. In
Ontario,
In Ontario, anyway. Here in Ontario, anyway. And yeah, a lot of controversy on that right now, whether that should happen or not. I think myself, I think it's foolish. They've been out this long. Keep them out for a little while longer. See if we can get these numbers coming down a little bit. But the Ontario government mentions parents will only be notified of potential COVID-19 outbreaks when roughly 30% of the students in their school are absent. Students in Ontario will go back to in-person classes on the 17th after nearly 2 weeks of remote learning due to a surge in COVID-19 cases. When the student absenteeism in an individual school reaches about 30% from its baseline, it will trigger the principal to notify local health officials, and the government stated that last Wednesday. So, I'm sure that's going to be implemented right away. So it'll be curious to see how quickly that school number rises.
Well, you do.
There is still an option, is there not? I believe that they don't have to go. They can
No,
stay
they-
home
they can
and do
still-
virtual learning.
There's still going to be online learning, but yeah, it's a lot of kids. I think today too they've gotten used to the online. I think a lot of them have.
Yeah, I think a lot of them, and that's where you're seeing a lot of the suicidal mental health issues in teenagers.
Yeah.
Is they need that interaction with each other
Oh,
physically.
that's a
not-
social aspect.
You remember when you were
Right.
12 or 13, how much fun you had for 2 years? Between 12 and 14
Oh,
were
high
probably,
school.
when you're a kid, those years are taken away from you in
Yeah,
the last
they're
2
very-
years
very
with
formative,
COVID.
very
They
formative.
can't be kids. They can't go out. They can't do the things we used to do.
Can't raise hell. Can't,
And it must be hard on kids. It's hard on everyone, I know, but the kids, I have a 12-year-old little buddy. He's got a girlfriend, he's 13. He can't even go on a date with her, for God's sakes,
Yeah.
Because her
Right.
parents are
Can't go to Dairy
hyper.
Queen or
This is a
can't,
girlfriend, boyfriend, 12, 13, innocent little stuff like that you can't enjoy, being with a girlfriend, going out with your friends,
Very different.
playing baseball, playing hockey, I
Right.
mean,
That's why I think you see a lot of them go back.
Yeah.
Because they,
Well, they
they
miss-
need that social
They-
well,
they
you
miss-
need that when you're
They miss,
when you're young.
they miss their
You
friends.
may think you hate school, but you really don't.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need it as a base for
Very
what you
true.
are. And that was taken away. And somebody that's 12 or 13 over the last couple of years have had that wonderful time that they're supposed to enjoy taken away from them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll shut up.
It's all teenagers, different age groups, different things.
Going back to Lejeau here, which is quite comical. He's quite something. And of course, Justin's jumping in, the Trudeau. He mentioned incentives and strong measures have worked in the fight against COVID-19, weighing in on Quebec's proposed tax. So he's noticed it. Talking to reporters in the middle of the week during a pandemic update, Trudeau stated Ottawa is looking at Quebec's plan to penalize those without a medical exemption with a financial levy with interest as well. So they're talking about doing it nationally.
Yep.
And they're going to have to jump through a few legal
I think
loopholes
so,
before they can
yeah.
actually do that, unless they make up their own laws.
You'd have a lot of these freedom choice organizations, jumping on the bandwagon. So it's,
But
yeah.
Quebec's curfew is over, like the 10 p.m. curfew. That's no longer, as of Monday, it's done.
Yeah.
But the other restrictions are still in place.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be back in your house by 10 p.m. watching Le Habs play hockey on TV.
Love this story. I just just because I think it's funny and that it's getting to everybody. You can tell this is getting to everybody. Anti-vaccine protesters rallied in cities around France on Saturday, denouncing President Emmanuel Macron's intent to piss people off,
Macron.
refusing coronavirus shots by tightening curbs on their civil liberties. Macron mentioned he wanted to irate unvaccinated people by making their lives so complicated that they would end up getting the shot. Unvaccinated people were irresponsible and unworthy of being considered citizens, he went on to say. And in Paris, protesters responded by adopting his slangy, wordy chanting with, "We will piss you off." But of course, they said it in French.
They said it in French.
Tabarnak.
They didn't say it in English. They
No,
said it in
no.
French.
So yeah, just like I said, it's a worldwide pandemic. People talk locally and they get going on about this and that. And no, it's affecting countries everywhere you go.
I looked at the world map of COVID. We're not doing too bad here.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the.
Yeah, you look at Russia, Pakistan, India, all over the. Man, there are hundreds of thousands of cases.
That's. You think you're out of it and then you're back into it.
Yeah,
again.
well, that too.
Here's a light story away from
Kind of
COVID.
like a bad marriage.
Oh, yeah. New population numbers from StatsCan indicates that
I was waiting for those.
Canadians are continuing to move away from the large cities. They don't want to hang around in Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary.
Can't
anymore.
afford it.
In the middle of all this garbage, choosing instead to live in smaller communities like Georgetown, Halton Hills. But the new report posted Thursday found that Carleton Place, Ontario, which
great
is
spot.
located
Just
about
outside of
46
Ottawa.
clicks out of Ottawa, saw the population grow by almost 4% last year. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Making it the fastest growing community in Canada. According to StatsCan, Cowansville in Quebec came in second with a 3.7% growth rate, followed by Wasaga Beach
Wow.
in Ontario, 3.7%, and then Woodstock, Ontario.
There was a kidnapping in Wasaga this week.
Was there?
Yeah, kind of bizarre. Sorry, just got
Joe
our-
Bickerstaff will be on. Hi, Joe.
Hey.
Up there in Wasaga Beach.
Yeah, Beach Booster Radio.
And how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm sure
I've
he's
talked
on
to him
top
in a
of
long
this,
time.
right?
It's been a long time since I've talked to him.
When I said Wasaga, and you got to be careful, it's not Wasaga, or is it Wasaga? Not
Depends who you
Wasaga?
talk to there.
Because we have friends up
It's like
there.
Aaron and Aaron.
Yeah.
Potato, patata.
Yeah, pretty much,
I call it Wasaga Beach. Yeah. And I remember all my wonderful days at Jellystone Park when I was a kid.
Jellystone Park.
Hey.
Hey, boo-boo.
Hey, boo-boo.
Where did you get that picnic basket?
Some
huh?
sad news.
Hey.
Sad news. Bob Saget.
Yeah, that's just, wow.
Comedian and actor Bob Saget, of course, as we all know, was found dead lying face up in his bed in a luxury hotel room in Florida with no signs of trauma, according to a sheriff's office report posted on Monday. There were no signs of foul play. Room
Yeah,
itself
very,
was in order. Items owned by Mr. Saget were on the nightstand, television stand, closet, and bathroom, according to the posting from the Orange County Sheriff's Office. But what a great, such a part of the 80s, that guy.
Oh man. He
With
was,
Full House.
he was the TV's dad for a long while there with Full House.
And if you thought he was hokey on Funny's videos, he didn't write that stuff.
No.
That stuff was written for Bob.
Oh,
If you
God,
saw Bob do stand-up, you'd laugh your ass off.
Oh, and that's what he was doing. He was actually performing the night he passed away, or the night
And he was
before.
in a great mood.
Yeah, there were other entertainers that were there at the show and said, you know, Bob was in great spirits. He was looking great. He wasn't, you know, didn't look ill. Didn't, you know, there was no signs. He said he was doing great. And,
If you're going to go, I guess that's the way to go. I understand.
you know, 65 years old, way too young.
He's only 3 years older than me.
Yeah. You know, so just unfortunate. Like I said, you know, he was TV's dad for a lot of people back in the late 80s and the early 90s, right? So just a lot of sad people, and again, you know, we Sidney Poitier, Betty White, him. There's the threes.
But it's always, doesn't it, you know what the funny thing about this, well, it's not funny, but
The odd thing about this.
like, look at 2016, that list of artists and
Yeah.
musicians, and you know, and it's like, here we go again. The
Yeah.
first few weeks of January.
Yeah, it
Bang,
always
bang,
seems
bang.
to hit you, yeah. The first
Boom.
few weeks of January,
It's
then it slows
weird.
down. Yeah, it does. Actually, it does. Maybe it's all the partying and festivities over
If
the
nothing
holidays.
else, Bob, thank you for the memories, and
Yeah.
of course our hearts go out to his family and friends. And John Stamos, I saw an interview with him. He was just absolutely destroyed. You know, they were
Stop
best
touching
friends.
yourself.
I know, I got a real bad itch. It's driving me crazy.
Usually it's me that touches
I know.
my face, you know? These guys have got me.
It's bad you got to tell me to stop touching myself, though.
More in news.
Switching stories.
By the way, my
this going-
loose tooth came out.
Yes, you were
You know?
saying that.
And I am so happy. I feel like a lion that's had his, something pulled out
Well,
of
you-
his paw.
whenever you would eat, you'd be always
thorn.
worried it was going to fall out, or
Yeah, and it finally came out. And you know, when you have things in your mouth, you play with them. When you have things, that didn't come out right. When you have things in your mouth, you play
you know
with
where
them with
his
your
mind's
tongue.
going today.
I just wanted to mention that
touching
I'm
yourself.
happy about my tooth coming
Yes.
out. I'm so happy. I just love life again.
More international story here than Russ's tooth. Prime
It was
Minister.
a third molar.
This going on in the Ukraine's been going on for a little bit now. Prime Minister Trudeau says that Russia may face further Western sanctions as a consequence of its military buildup at the Ukraine border. And Trudeau strongly stated Wednesday that Canada will renew its modest commitment of the 200 Canadian Forces personnel to the NATO training mission in Ukraine in the middle of the rising tensions between the West and Russia. The Ukraine government has been waiting on Canada to publicly renew its commitment, and it's set to expire at the end of March. So as a show of NATO solidarity towards Russia at the time of rising tensions. And yeah, it seems to be a lot of rising tensions there. So
Well, you know, Putin is a rock star.
He's-
Have you ever seen anything, a documentary on him? He likes to be the boss.
oh
okay?
God, yeah.
He met the Pope, the Roman Catholic, the head of the Roman Catholic Church in the world. The Pope, he left the Pope waiting for 4 hours. Can you imagine leaving the Pope waiting for 4
Yeah.
hours? He left, what's his name, the old president of the United States, Mr. Trump. He left him an hour. He says he does it just so he can feel
Yeah.
superior to everyone else. Wow.
That's a big ego to fill.
That's
a
right.
big ego.
I
to
think he
fill.
actually has a bigger ego than Trump.
Oh, probably.
But guy I wouldn't mess with either. He's
No.
built like a, and he's also a combat.
There's a Family Guy episode where he comes over and befriends Peter Griffin, and the two of them bare-chested and riding horses down the street, talking about different hockey team or something. Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, so we're going to talk about. Are we done with the stories, or
I
you
still
got one more to
think
go?
I still got one to go. I think.
We've motored through them.
Oh no, I still got two to go here.
Oh, okay. I don't want to talk too much about COVID and stuff.
Well, then we'll get rid of that one. But this one I do want to talk about.
Why don't you talk about that, and then I'll
This
get
is
into the sports.
Yeah, you can get into the sports on this
Yeah,
one.
I've had enough talking about
Because
COVID.
the royal family is just always something that keeps us well entertained over the years, and this is no different. Prince Andrew had his military links and royal patronages taken away on Thursday and will no longer be known as His Royal Highness. Buckingham Palace, mentioned as the son of Queen Elizabeth II, battles a U.S. lawsuit in which he is accused of sex abuse. Andrew, 61, the Duke of York, was made to step down from public duties in 2019 because of his connections to the convicted U.S. sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and after a disastrous BBC interview, which the prince had hoped would clear his name.
That was hard to watch.
Thursday's actions by the royal family means he will now lose all his royal connections.
I feel sorry
he's
for the
blood.
Queen. She's going.
It's not like he's married in. He's blood. And you're being disowned. So
Unfortunately, you look at all the stuff that went on with him and his first wife.
Fergie, him and Fergie, we were talking about that off the air.
She was gorgeous, Fergie. I remember.
She was a good person, I think. But
She was a train wreck there for a while, but
yeah, well, you can't blame
but
her.
again, that fame will do that to you. It's a different world when you step into that kind of plateau.
I feel sorry for the Queen. She's had she lost her husband, Philip, of course, and then now this, and there's always controversy she has to deal with.
They keep us well apprised of things that are just
being British, like
things that make you go,
Being British, brought up in England, I respect the Queen.
Of
no
course.
doubt about it. She's like everyone's mother in the UK, and I feel for her right now going through this garbage with him. I don't feel for him.
No,
I
God,
think he
no.
built his bed, and he'll have to lie in it.
and there's a lot of proof, just in photographs and videos of him with Epstein and this whole ordeal that's gone on.
This is going to be one of the big stories of the year.
I think so.
All right, so let's talk about sports a little bit. And the Leafs haven't been doing too badly.
Not badly at all, like even the game they lost in Arizona there, it was a good game. It was a good hockey game. It was,
I know you're glued to every Leaf game.
Oh,
like I
pretty
am.
much. I was screaming at the TV. I watched the Arizona game, and this goaltender just stood on his head. It was just absolutely amazing performance to watch.
It doesn't matter how low the team is in the standings in the NHL. These guys are professionals, and if you let your guard down for a minute, they'll bite you in the ass.
And they did.
And Arizona did just that, and they were tired. They were the Leafs were on a back.
Well, they were on a back-to-back game situation, both late nights too, because it's a late night start. It's a West Coast game, so you're a 10 o'clock start as opposed to a 7. So there's some.
Yeah,
but
there's jet lag too in there.
Yeah, it was just absolutely outstanding to watch that Arizona game.
Let's look at the Canadian teams. Carolina Hurricanes, they've won 5 straight.
Not a Canadian team.
No, hold on. I haven't finished yet.
You said let's look at the Canadian teams.
Well, I'm talking about Calgary. They pounded Calgary 6-3 at the PNC Arena.
Yeah, Calgary's having some issues, eh?
Especially when they play the good teams.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Which is a bad sign. The Colorado Avalanche broke a few hearts in Toronto, of course, on Saturday night as they came from 3 goals down to beat the Leafs in sudden death. But that happens, and I think they're one of the favorites to win the Cup, Colorado.
Yeah, I agree.
Florida Panthers won their 19th home game of 22. They pounded on Vancouver 5-2. Seems that bubbles burst in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Leafs hung on to beat the Vegas Golden Knights with a shootout. William Nylander,
Shouldn't
our
have won that
buddy,
game.
picking up the opening goal and eventual winner, of course.
He's playing really well,
And, yeah.
Nylander. He's really playing well.
Well,
he was the guy you loved to hate.
I always loved him. I'm a Leaf fan.
Well, when he was doing the contract dispute thing
Yeah,
going on
I
a couple
know,
years
I
back, everybody got all testy, and I was like, you know what? He's a good hockey player.
Look
man.
what he's done for us
Yeah.
since.
Thanks.
Wednesday evening, we have the Boston Bruins. They blasted the Canadians 5-1.
Big shock there.
Yeah, Brad Marchand scored a hat trick.
Ooh.
Little fella.
Yeah. Lippy.
And Connor Hellebuck, he grabbed a shutout. Winnipeg shut the door on Detroit 3-0 in the week. Chicago won 3 straight. They took out Montreal, of course, as well. Everybody seems to beat Montreal lately. The Ottawa Senators took out Calgary 4-1. Of course, Thursday night, I guess, Tampa Bay Lightning double up on Vancouver. And I will mention this about the Raptors is they are playing well.
They just broke that, 7-game winning streak that they were on. And
But they are playing so well.
And did you catch that Matthews broke a record the other night?
Yeah.
The longest road scoring streak
Oh, really?
in NHL in Leaf history.
I saw him score.
Yeah, he's scored in 8 games on the road straight, and so now he's actually broken a Leaf record.
Well, they beat New Orleans in midweek, the Raptors, 105-101. But Fred VanVleet, when he came to the Raptors, was a nobody.
Yeah.
And he's become a superstar.
He is a superstar.
He scores 30 points every game.
Consistent,
Scored 32 there in the middle of the week. So yeah, I mean that's what's going on in sports. And
it's great. It's you and I talked about this a few
Edmonton
times.
shut the bed, of course.
Yeah.
They're not doing well. Did we miss any Canadian teams there? No,
I don't think so.
But I think the teams to watch are Boston.
Well,
They've won 4 straight.
You've got some teams that have had to postpone some of these games too, as well. Ottawa,
Leafs have
Calgary
had
have had to postpone some of these games due to COVID protocol. But at least, like you and I have talked about, is with losing the juniors, at least we're still got some of our hockey.
That was a disappointment.
Oh, it still is a disappointment. And
I watched the kids play that, and we were on fire.
It was turning out to be. Because I was watching some of the other games too, the Swedes against Czech and stuff like that. It was great hockey, man. It's just so good to watch good hockey. But very disappointing to see it disappear like that. But at least we have our home Canadian teams playing right now, and it gives us some entertainment. Because I'm not a big Netflix binge watching kind of person.
I'm a highlights junkie.
There's nothing else to do other than work.
I'm a highlights junkie, and
Yeah.
I study the highlights. And I watch because I love this. I love sports.
Yeah, I love auto racing and that, but a lot of that not going on now either. So that's a bit challenging. So yeah, it's.
Talk about our radio stations for a moment. FM108.ca, 50s, 60s, 70s. Big Daddy in the morning with a top 40 timeline breakfast on all 3 of our stations, I guess. And of course, we have wonderful programs on the weekends. We have FM 108. I worked at FM 108 45 years ago.
Yeah.
And we brought all the old DJs together, the old jingles,
Yeah, before
and everything
Energy-
else.
before Energy
And
108.
before, this is way before that. We were playing Ernie Maresca records back then.
Jumpin'
You
Jimmy.
have no idea who Ernie Maresca
No,
is,
I
do you?
don't.
But we're 50s, 60s, and 70s, and we're online 24/7. Air radio, news, weather, sports, every hour. Canadian national radio, national sports, national news, national weather. Just like plugging into the CBC, but it's a bunch of guys in lumberjackets. Bringing all the stuff to you. Radio GTA is a free-form station. We play a mix of everything.
CHFI to Q107
Exactly.
to
Indie. We played country.
Indie
Back
88.
in the old days, radio used to play the country hits, the pop hits, the rock hits, and the indie hits all together. And that's what we do. And it's, again, a national. And we have wonderful shows on the weekend, like the Canadian Indie Country Countdown.
Yep.
Every Saturday morning at 6 a.m., Radio GTA has the top 100 indie Canadian songs. No one from any other country is on this show. This is all Canadian indie that doesn't get on the regular
On the radio,
And
yep.
to Walter and Bill, you do such a fantastic job at the Canadian Indie Country Countdown. And to Bill Smith, what a wonderful job
he's
he's
done a great
doing
job.
on GTA and
Yeah.
Halton Hills Online with the new music. And Bill is a very famous music blogger and the music director of our radio stations as well. So we want to salute, of course, our local radio too. If you're listening somewhere in the world, you want to get a kick out of listening to Halton Hills Online, you'll hear how our community acts
lives and breathes
and totally community radio. We're very proud of that little station because it helps a lot of people get through some tough times.
some bleak times, yeah.
And with some great tunes, of course, we mix all that up together. So Air Radio, basically, we're not a corporation. We're
Just a couple people
3 people.
bringing your news every day.
And, we have a network of people that work with us. Hopefully we'll be getting into a situation where we get some interns working with us. By the way, if you're watching this and you want to get into broadcasting and learn the business, get in touch with Lee and Leah and I, and we will get you working. And you'll be involved in some very, very fun stuff.
Well, it's fun, and the cool thing about it too is this is a new broadcast medium for people. So, learning and training is always a good thing to move you forward in this business as we see it changing and evolving now that it is. You think the radio was around for it's different now. It's very different now with having video and much more competition and stuff. So you want to intern with the station and learn what to do, what we do, we'd love to hear from you. Get in touch with us on Facebook. My bloody face is itchy. It's driving me crazy.
Where?
Oh, all over.
All over?
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah. Big Daddy Russ Horton, myself, Lee Lake, and Leah Lywood, we want to thank you for tuning in like we do every single week. We appreciate our viewers, love our viewers. You want to contact us, get us through Facebook. It's really simple and easy. We have tons of pages to go across. We want to thank the Appalachian Drink House in Georgetown, Halton Hills, Ontario. And it's great food, dynamite food. Hopefully you can get out and dine soon. But right now you can get takeout at 905-877-8888. And enjoy your food, enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch everybody next week.
All right, Mother Owl, and Mother Owl is our sponsor, of course, for the show. How do you say that? Renaissance? Renaissance. I've got a mental block about that word. Renaissance. Mother Owl's Renaissance. There you go. She has classes, energy healing, hypnotherapy, remote healing, and really, you can find her at sistersoflight.ca.
That's the best way.
That's the best way to find her. You can give her a call. I'm talking about our very own
Leah.
little sweetheart, our producer, our boss, Leah Lywood. And of course, 905-867-5377, sistersoflight.ca, and she is Mother Owl. Okay, and we'd like to thank her for taking the time to give us all that information.
Yep.
And we're going to be boogieing for another week.
Especially the energy healing. She can do a lot of that.
She's done it to you.
Yeah, she's been working with me on that for the last couple of weeks. And the other thing too is her classes. You want to get trained, and in that, definitely give her a call. So.
Absolutely. And she's starting to get busy, so get in there quickly.
Get in there now. Yeah.
Because when the spring comes, she's going to be going nuts on all these little
Probably.
retreats.
Summer.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully she can get back to that. You know.
I got a lot of remote stuff, so.
Yeah.
I know. And of course, Halton Paranormal is coming back. Have you
Yeah,
heard?
that's a huge one.
She's a member of that. And Kimberly and Leah, they
Right.
go out.
My second wife and I went with Leah and Kim, and we did one at Tanner's Restaurant
Did you?
quite a few years ago. Yeah.
We interviewed her at the McGibbon years ago, a hotel.
Yeah.
And,
So they're back. So watch for their Facebook page
Yes.
lighting up a little bit more, especially now too.
we'll be plugging them too
So,
on the
yeah.
show. Yeah, because it's interesting stuff, and they've had some fascinating videos.
Oh God, yeah. Some interesting stories.
All
That's
of
for
those
sure.
lights down at the old ruins there in Georgetown. I remember
we
that
did
more.
McGibbon.
You did the McGibbon
We did
Hotel.
old
Yeah.
arena. Did all kinds of
Apparently,
old
when I
stuff.
worked at the McGibbon Hotel, there was a lady ghost there, apparently that was interested in what I was doing, right? You were telling me that. Or was it Kim or Kimberly, years ago?
Right.
When we had the studio in the McGibbon, she said, there's a spirit of a woman that watches you every day and is fascinated by what you do, because we used to go in there and write all the news
Yeah.
and everything else. So yeah, I've always been fascinated, but Halton Paranormal's coming back. And we are here, from Halton, from Canada's hometown.
Yep.
In our Acton dinner jackets. Halton Hills, Ontario is Canada's hometown. We stream to across the country and around the world. And don't forget that our radio stations and our social media, we also promote Canadian tourism worldwide, because we have so many listeners around the world. We have listeners in Australia, we have listeners in England, we have listeners in Spain, Iceland, all over the world. So don't
Yep.
just think that we're a small fry. We're not.
Travel
Get out
when
there.
you can. Stay home right now.
That's right.
So have a great weekend, everybody. Check out Air Radio News next week with Big Daddy Russ Horton, Lee Lakin, and Leah Lywood.
All right, I'm going to hit my... Hey, this is the Mark Panopoulos chime time. I own